right. Hey guys, what's up? I apologize for being a little late, 6 minutes or so late. Thank you guys for being here nice and early, though. I just want to give a shout out to some of you in the chat. Let's see here. We got Comic Talk with Pops Van Zant. Yeah, Elliot Rodriguez, a new member of the channel. Thank you so much, Elliot. Appreciate you doing that. Ara is in the house as well. We have Seer of All That Is Obvious is here. As I am here as you are here, and we are all together. Seer of All That Is Obvious is the Eggman. Cuckoo. All right, so if you guys want to join the show, it's a feedback forum. It's about an hour a show, as long as we have guests to support the hour. Otherwise, the show can be pretty fast. We could be wrapping it up pretty quick. We shall see, though. Right here, it's pinned to the top of the chat. It says, looking for feedback, join the show. So there it is. You guys can stop by, and if you have anything to share, your comic book, your artwork, writing, lettering, crowdfunding project, anything that you need some advice with, maybe another set of eyes, I'm more than happy to do that for you. And it's always a great, wonderful show whenever we have feedback form. We had it last week. This is going to be a weekly show on Thursdays, and I thought it was a very nice show that we had. Really great creators that came in, and we had, of course, you guys in the chat were fantastic as well. So thank you guys so much for doing that. Let's see. We have. I know I'm trying. I'll try a little extra harder for you, Seer. Ara, what's up? We got Eloise here. We have El Padrino as well. Paul Riley is here too. Billy Jacobs, hope you're having a good night. We got Roger Ryder in the house. Jay Lee, what's up? Says good evening and congrats on your campaigns. Oh, thank you, Jay. Appreciate that. Well, thank you for helping to back them and support them and help them to make them a success as well. You know, everybody that backs these campaigns and supports them, we literally can't do it without you guys. So thank you. Allison McGlone, what's up, Allison? Long time no see. X-Gal is here too. It was a great show on Allison and Peter Palmiotti's channel earlier today. A lot of fun. And El Padrino says, hello, fellas. All right. So if we don't have anybody stopping in that needs feedback about any of their stuff, like I said, the show will end rather early. We'll have like a half-hour show minimum. But I will touch upon a couple of different subjects. The one I really want to touch upon, it kind of has something to do with yesterday's open mic. So yesterday on Open Mic Wednesday, and feel free when you come on the show, you don't need to stick to any topic I'm talking about. As soon as we have a guest on here, we'll shift gears. But on the Wednesday open mic show that we had, so the topic was basically who, what, where, when, and why. So who are your characters? What are they doing? When does the story take place? Where does the story take place? And why are your characters doing what they're doing? What's the central motivation here? Some people did pretty good at it. Some people did pretty good at answering those questions. Some people didn't answer them at all. I kind of just let it slide. 3 minutes, you know what I mean? It's okay. But I'm noticing that there's a lot of things going on with certain creators, especially, you know, when they're newer to it. And that's fine too, because this happens as well. And I think we all do this. I at one point in time did this too. But it's when you say that I mentioned at the end of the show of open mic last night, it's when you say that your idea, your story, your book, whatever it may be, is like this thing crossed with this thing. So you take this other pre-existing thing with this other pre-existing thing, you cross them both, and that's what my thing is just like. Now, a lot of people do that kind of a thing. It's a very Hollywood kind of thing to do. Hollywood loves doing that. They love saying it's like a mashup of this with this other thing. Well, what did they do before there was this other thing and this other thing to say, well, put them together, and that's what you get with what I'm making? They had to actually explain the story a little bit. Everything has become so revolving around the elevator pitch to the, you know, get it done in 30 seconds or less, get your pitch out there in 30 seconds. Now, I understand keeping it brief and succinct, but going into it and saying, well, you just need to just get it out there in like 5 words. No, stick to something that's relatively short. If you can take like 3 to 5 to 7 sentences to get your point across. Fantastic. If you can get your pitch out there in 1 to 2 minutes, fantastic. Don't have every scenario in your mind where you're like, okay, well, I got to make sure I'm referential. If I'm referential to something that already exists, it increases the likelihood of a shorthand communication to my potential audience that this is what this thing is like, because they're familiar with the things I'm referencing. Now, I touched upon it yesterday. If you do that, what happens is number one, you're communicating to the person, the audience, that this is what this thing is like, crossed with this other thing. And maybe it's, a third thing too. But you're depending upon them understanding your reference. But if they're not familiar with your reference, now what? You're also putting yourself behind a bit, because now you're automatically drawing comparisons to your own work with previously existing works. So that creates this conundrum where all of a sudden now people are going to be having these they're going to have these expectations for, well, this is how I expect it now to be. What if they're the biggest fan ever of the thing you just mentioned? Well, now you put yourself behind, and they're already sizing you up in such a way that's not going to be of any service to you. It's going to become automatically you are a ripoff of. So that's not a really good way to get the conversation started on what your project, your story, your comic is like. You don't want to do that. The third thing that you're going to do too is you might just end up pushing, and this is what it does for me a lot of the time. Someone will say it's I don't know, I'll take two things that I really like, and I'll say that this is what my story is like. It's like Ghostbusters meets Star Wars. It's like Ghostbusters meets Star Wars. You put them together, and that's what my story's like. I think, well, why don't I just stick to watching Ghostbusters and Star Wars? Or, if it's a comic, it's just like Batman meets, Superman. It's just like that. That's not doing anything to explain the story to me, the characters, the motivations. I just automatically, it conjures images of Batman and Superman, and my thoughts go to them, and my thoughts turn into, do I like Batman and Superman? Do I like this? Do I like the thing that they just talked about that's pre-existing? And now my train of thought is completely derailed into thinking about the thing they just said is like this meets this. So I see a lot of creators that do that. Try to get away from that. Talk about your story, talk about your characters as if no other characters, no other stories have ever existed. Just talk about the character's personality, talk about the journey that they're on, the situation involved, the conflict at hand. Story-wise, talk about the genre, things like that. If you start talking about everything in a referential sense, you greatly diminish your story. And for most people, they're going to see, oh, okay, well, I guess it's very derivative. It's just like those other things. So I don't really need to, I'm not missing out. You want to make sure people are aware of what it is you're talking about. Make them feel like they are going to miss out. It's going to be something completely different from the things that you know and love, even though still maintaining some kind of similar familiarity to those things. It's a fine line to it, but it is there. And we have a guest right now. That is Pops Van Dam. What's up, Pops? Hey.
You've seen me do this. Like I've explained to people, I'm not the talent nor the campaign manager on Enter the Cromniverse. I have very little to do with the actual product, okay, other than talking about it. But you've heard me talking about it. You've heard me in the condensed, I only got a couple minutes, and you may have heard me when I have plenty of time to promote it. And I'm wondering if you can give me any advice in that aspect as to how to keep it fresh. Because, I'm trying to keep it where we only add a little bit to the campaign at a time. So I always have something new to talk about. And you know what I mean? It's like, it's hard to keep up.
Well, are you aware of any particular stories? Do you have any favorites among the batch?
Well, I have the ones that I don't want to see till I have the book in my hand. like Specs Thompson's story. I don't really want to read that till I get it in my hand. Glenn Fleming's story. I told him I forbid him to send me anything. That goes straight to Anthony, straight into the book. I don't want to see it until I have the proof in my hand, right? But that's the fan in me. And on the other hand, there's some the Dreaded Dinosaur Man, Eric Hodson's story. Dude, we got like a. I hate to do the reference thing, but it's kind of a Game Master thing where Crom has Dreaded Dinosaur Man and one of Russ Leach's demons from Only Death Can Save Us in a little battle together, And I mean, like I said, I don't have no control over that, so I have to try to make it sound fresh and popping when I'm talking about it, right?
Okay, well, what you can do, and I find that this is, and I love listening to anyone that talks about their campaign or their book or however, in this kind of fashion. I love when they talk about it from a standpoint of not as a creator, but as a potential reader. And what I mean by that is what gets, if you see someone else's campaign and you go, okay, well, that's what I'm digging about that. That's what gets me excited about this. This is why I'm going to back it. If you can highlight those points about your own stuff, you make it even more of an easy task to actually communicate that to someone else. Whereas, a lot of the time you'll see someone who, they're so close to it, they're thinking about all these other things, but they lose the why of what would actually appeal to the potential reader or the customer.
Right.
So if you can look at your own campaign and think about, well, if I were coming in on this and I wasn't, get out of that headspace that you're associated with it and approach it from the angle of a backer or a customer, and look at it and go, okay, I'm interested in that. I'm interested in that. And then talk about those things.
That's kind of what I try to do because I came in this as a fan, Pete. You know that. I'm not a publisher. I'm not I don't do what you guys do. I talk about comics. But there's some great Doc Blaylock's story. Okay, I wish he hadn't have told me how it ends because it is a gut buster, and everybody's gonna fall out laughing when they read it. And I wish I'd have read it rather than just like read the script or heard about it. Because it's good. It's gonna be really good.
Well, what's your favorite thing about your campaign?
The fact that all these people just jumped on board and wanted to do crossovers with my little Crom dude, man.
So you're getting too close to it. You're getting too close to it again because you're talking about it as someone who's involved with the creation process. Talk about it and look at it from the angle of that you're a backer, you're a potential fan. Right now you're a fan, you're already there. But if you can look at that through the angle of, well, what would get me excited? I see this campaign and what makes me want to back it. Now that could be the artwork, that could be the way the story sounds, that could be the price point even, that could be the page count, it could be the creator involved, it could be a specific kind of perk that you have, some kind of merchandise. There's all these different things that you can look at and go, okay, these things, and I'm going to talk about them, and separate yourself a little bit from the end result product. And if you could do that while also sprinkling in a little bit of what gets you excited as a creator involved, as someone who's involved with it. I know you said you're not super involved with it, but you're still involved with it. You're basically the biggest fan of the campaign.
I do have a character, but I'm kind of letting all these creators shape who he's going to be. You know what I mean? It's like that's the fun part for me. It's like I didn't throw a whole bunch of he does this and that.
Who is he going to be? Because that's something else that I also see about a lot of campaigns and a lot of books too. And even I'm telling it to the alternate guys all the time too. Don't be so precious about your characters and about every single detail in the books. Talk about the stuff, and you have to have the knowledge of this is going to spoil something for someone. This is a pivotal moment. I won't mention that. I'll tease at it maybe, or I won't mention it at all. Exactly. But everything else, I mean, when you think about all the comics that you've grown up reading, all the stories you've heard about, there's a lot of people out there. They'll see, I don't know, Star Wars again. I'll say that for the first time, and they'll already know Darth Vader is Luke's dad, because they've heard it through various, forms of whatever jokes and different movies and references and whatever. When I got into comics when I was a kid, I read a lot of the trading cards, the back information of all the characters, and they'll mention different things that have happened. Some characters, they're dead. Some characters go through this change and they became this type of character. So I already went into it getting really interested in the fact that these characters already had a long history, that I could go in there and see actually what had occurred in the book itself. So, don't be too precious about it. I'm not saying that you're necessarily being too precious about it, but for a lot of creators out there, don't be too precious about giving away certain details and really expounding upon the journey that your character is on, their personality, all that kind of stuff. So when you say that your character is being shaped by these people to become like this character, this sort of personality, this sort of thing, talk about what that's like. Talk about the things that the character is going to go through, some of the personality changes or transformations or whatever is occurring within that book.
Allison popped one of them up right there in the chat. She's taking this little internet troll and turning him into a kaiju. There's so many different stories, and trying to fit them together so they kind of chronologically work together. Trying to figure out how you're going to order these 13 stories is a trip. But we know Doc's is first, pretty sure Allison's is second. And, we have an order where it kind of fits, and this guy grows throughout the story. I know who he is. They all know who he is from what I've told him, but they're all adding to it and giving him little, cool little quirks and stuff that I never would have thought of, because that's not what I do. You know what I mean? Somebody else drew this character for a stupid logo contest. and the logo won, and then everybody latched on to the little green guy in the middle of the logo, and he took on a life of his own. He snowballed well beyond my ability.
Now, when you see your campaign, in all honesty, is this a campaign you look at and you go, yeah, I would back that campaign?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. See, that's a number. That's something that's I'm finding that there's a lot of people that they'll look at other campaigns and they'll have them at a certain standard, and they go, oh, it's not like, they're very critical of it. It's not like this. It's not like this. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. And then they turn around, they run their own campaign. And I'm like, where was your critical eye for your own campaign? So it's important to look at your product, your campaign, whatever it may be, with that same critical eye. And don't give excuses for yourself and go, oh, well, I'm not at their level. I'm not this, I'm not that. The only difference between, someone being on a certain level compared to somebody else is going to be time, and that time allowing for the accrual of skill through hard work. Other than that, you can still have the same set of standards. If you can recognize the standards in someone else, that they're not holding up to those standards, then you should have those same standards for yourself too.
Yeah.
So it's very important.
We did launch a new trailer. We did put the final trailer up today. The final edited piece. The trailer's done finally, Pete. After 3 incarnations.
Did you get Allison's name corrected?
Yes, it's all fixed, bro. It's all fixed. Everybody's credits are in place.
That's great.
New music, the new animation that Pedro did, it's all up there now. It looks amazing. I was blown away. And yes, Allison, it's spelled right. So is Glenn's. And it's not chopped off the side or anything. No, they totally fixed it up today. Allison pointed out the error. Glenn pointed out an error. They came right to me. They were like, hey, man. And I was like, okay, we'll fix that. No problem. That's what it's all about. We do have some great stretch goals. I don't really want to go into them unless we get close to the point where we actually get to use them. But some people have heard some of the stuff we have, some of the ideas we have.
So what are you struggling with in terms of the freshness? What do you feel you've just said too many times, and it's probably you should just retire it and move on to something else?
For me, I kind of feel like I probably ain't the one that should be out here doing this part of it too much.
I would agree, and it's nothing against you.
Right. it's just, I told everybody that. I was like, man, I feel like, I'm going to beat this thing into the ground if I'm the only one going out here talking about it. And that's not a shot that nobody else is, because obviously you got Allison right there in the chat. I'm doing a story, it's like everybody's talking about it, but I feel like I might be trying too hard, and I might need to just back up a little bit. That's what I feel, but I don't know. I'm not getting any kind of feedback. That's why I come out here. I want to know what you think, Pete. You've seen the campaign, you've seen me come out and talk about it a few times. Is there something I need to do, or am I beating the horse too hard in certain places? What do I need to do? What do you think? I mean, that's why I'm here.
Well, I mean, to be honest, other than you and Allison, I haven't heard about your campaign from anybody. But also at the same time, I mean, I don't look at my Twitter timeline really as much anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's a massive headache.
Twitter looking at stuff, and I mean, I know. Dark Gift is talking about it all the time. Doc Waylock, Tank Fairy. All these guys.
Oh, great.
They're out there talking about it, but they all have their own small little audiences. We all have our audience, right? We all have our audience, some larger than others, but we all have our core people that you can only talk to them people so much. You got to go talk in front of another audience.
Let me see if I can actually find your campaign. I think Allison has that link there.
There it is.
Let's see.
Yeah, Allison talks about it all the time. I see her on Peter's show. She's talking about it.
Come on.
And I seen you on Peter's show today too, Peter.
Yes, I was. It was a great show. Man, I mean, can you put the link in the private chat for me, Pops? Yeah. I'm in StreamYard mode, and it won't let me access to copy and paste it directly from there. That's a pain.
Gotcha.
I want to just bring it up because I don't know if, before I say anything, I don't want to have a critique at all and be like, oh, well, I didn't even know that was there. Okay.
Now, Anthony did a really good job building the page. I'm happy with where it's going. And like I said, we've left room to add stuff that we haven't really told people about yet. We got some surprises and secrets, and it's all good. It's all fun. I mean, I guess every script I read, I either giggled or went, oh, hell no. Every script. Okay, I was just like, this is crazy. These stories are good. Then I got to the point where, man, I don't want to see no more of these. Glenn started sending me stuff. I was like, no, Glenn, I know what you can do. You just stay over there and do your thing, and it's going in the book. Don't worry about it. Some of these people I know real well, and I have complete trust in that they're going to do real good. Some are brand new. We'll see what happens. It's fun, man. How you like that? You see Shay's cosplay of Crumb?
Yeah, that's nice. Man, she goes all out.
Dude, she's amazing. It was so much fun on her show. We're going to tease the interior art. Okay, that's from 3 stories down. Maybe in a couple weeks we'll put some interior art up from 3 other stories. I don't want to flood the page with all of it at once. You know what I mean? It's like 13 stories, and putting a couple of pages from each story in here would be like, you'd be scrolling down forever. And it's like, so we'll switch it up. We have some cool add-ons and whatnot. The sculpture by Jim O'Reilly. We have the Jim O'Reilly original art. But look at the list of people.
Are the stories connected? Is there an overarching theme of the anthology other than the character?
It's just across everybody crossing over. He's an internet troll. He can go anywhere or drag your characters into his little Cromniverse, whatever he wants to do. And I just gave everybody free reign to write whatever kind of story they wanted, with Crom interacting with their IPs. I don't know their IPs well enough to say, hey man, you should do this and this and this with your guy and my guy. I'm like, this is who my guy is. Can you do a crossover? And all these people just jumped in. It wasn't like, I didn't have to beg anybody to be part of this. It's like, people knocked the door down. Yeah, I want to be in. I want to be in. I want to be in. I was like, cool. So like I said, every few, 4 or 5 days, we'll add something else.
What I would recommend right off the bat, because it's an anthology and it's a lot of, it's not already like a known quantity.
Right.
I would recommend absolutely having at least one completed page from everybody's story. popping that up on there. Is
By the
that
time
possible?
as soon as we have a completed page, like the deadline for everything's 420. You know, okay. And that gives us a whole month before the campaign ends. We are going 60, not just 30. I'm not trying to BS anybody. It's going to be a 60-day campaign. So the deadline for everything to be done is 420. Other than the drawn-in tiers, which of course we can't do those until people purchase those and whatnot. But everything should be done a month before the campaign's over. You know what I mean? So
let's see. There's some feedback here. Eric the Guapo says, "I'm going to be honest about the Cromniverse. All I know is that it's an anthology with some crossovers. I would like to know what kind of stories will be in it: comedy, horror, sci-fi, fantasy."
All of the above. But mostly they're all funny too. Like Bushy Boo Circus right there is Paul Gomez book. You got Six Gun Gorilla, Brian Kriskow. We're doing a crossover with Six Gun Gorilla. We're doing a crossover with the Dreaded Dinosaur Man. Lakim Amir has a story with his characters. Where's my dang? Unbelievable.
Okay, well,
paper ain't here.
Unfortunately, okay. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm viewing it as a backer. So now I'm a potential backer. So when I see this, my first biggest, like, I'm not backing it, and this is why, is because I don't see at least one completed page from everybody who's going to have a story.
Right. Well, but like I said, by the time the deadline of 420 for them to all have their art in, we'll have a whole month of a page of everybody's story up here.
But then that's when I'm saying the campaign should be then put up once that's in. You get what I'm kind of saying? So that's why you guys could be meeting a little bit of some difficulty here.
Okay.
So that's just So that's just right off the bat for me. That's why I'd say I'm going to hold off on.
John Walsh says that basically zero info on the actual stories. There's 13 stories. There's short stories. If we go in and give you a synopsis of every story, you're kind of going to know everything that's in the book already.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Short stories, you got to be a little more cautious with what you give up.
Well, you could literally do a one-sentence description.
Yeah, exactly. I'm collecting those right now, a short synopsis of each story from everybody. Right, Allison? Did I get yours yet? I asked everybody in the DM group to send me those, and I've only gotten a couple of them so far, which is why we don't have them all up there. But yeah, as soon as I have 13 synopses to put up there, then they'll be up there. You know.
Would you say that was there a time frame that this needed to be launched then when it was launched, or could it have been launched?
I will be launched. That's why I'm giving them all a full month. That's why I'm giving us a full month to put it all together after the deadline. Okay. Campaign doesn't end till May 25th. All the work will be done on 420. So we'll have a whole month to figure out what order we're going to put each story in the book and whatnot, and make them blend together nicely. You know, we're going to have...
No, yeah, exactly. I understand that. I'm not trying to necessarily put you on the spot with it. But I'm just more saying that when I see that and when I hear that, if one of my guys was to do that, and I've talked to some of them before about their campaigns and last minute, like, you know, I don't know what you're doing here, but you can't do what you're doing right now. There's been a lot of behind the scenes talk with a lot of different campaigns involving alternate creators where, and you guys don't know about it or whatever, but I've had to do some last minute steering of like, nope, you're not putting this up. You got to do this in a week, because right now you're not ready. You don't have any preview pages up. You've got no images up. The way you're describing it makes no sense. The perks make no sense with the tiers. So when I'm seeing this, I'm thinking, was there a time where
which part doesn't make sense? So I can click.
No, no. See, I'm saying, and I said it already though. I said it with the way the preview pages, that there's no real preview pages. There's just like a handful of pages, and then that's it. You know, you could have preview pages set up. And again, it's difficult to say because you're saying that you're kind of hands off with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
kind of
more like Anthony's running the campaign.
So whoever's running the campaign, I'm wondering why why was there a need to rush out the campaign when it wasn't done yet? Because obviously you said, they're getting time to work on it, they're doing this, they're doing that. But I'm wondering, well, why would you need to put the campaign up when things weren't ready to go yet? But honestly, you're not the person necessarily, I guess, to answer that question.
Well, no, because I can't answer that one.
You didn't put it up.
I can't answer that one. I had a different campaign manager, and we had a launch date. And then as we got close, it was like, okay, this is going to be rushed. Okay, and I brought in Anthony to make sure that the campaign page went up right. And as we get stuff in, it's going to keep looking better. I mean, the first draft of it was horrible. I mean, it's getting better and better as we go along. It was already announced. I wasn't going to back off on it, knowing everybody would have plenty of time to get it done. Everybody's got plenty of time to get their.
Well, I mean, you could say you have a launch date,
done,
but it's the same thing as like, let's say you go to a restaurant and the food's not done in time, and you're like, okay, whatever. I'm aggravated. It's not done in time, but what am I going to do? I'm going to wait. And then you wait, and then you get the food, and it's horrible. Now you're pissed. But if you get the food and you've waited, and the food is perfect.
And see, this is what
you
I'm
don't
saying.
care that you waited. So it's that kind of a thing. I'm wondering, was there some kind of outside force that everything had to be kind of rushed, that everything kind of had to be put together in a certain way, where then something would be completed later on within a month, and then a month or so later would go by because there's another 30 days.
That's what I'm saying. It's all gone according to plan. It's like right from the beginning, the deadline date for everybody was 4/20. I knew I was running 60 days, but I didn't want to come up here and throw everything up on the campaign at once. I wanted to be able to keep dropping something new and something fresh through the 60 days. Otherwise, we get that middle lull where nothing happens. If I keep having new stuff to drop throughout the whole campaign, hopefully I keep people interested.
I understand that strategy. But there's things that are like right off the bat that, like, when it's not ready in that kind of risk, because it's a tough sell. An anthology is always going to be a tough sell until you've proven it to be. Like, if this was volume 3 or 4, then you can kind of go like, okay, you guys know what you're getting, and we're going to start dropping things, as they come. But where this is like a number 1, this is a relatively new kind of thing. You really need to right off the bat impress people with that first impression. And it seems like
the trailer gives them that good first impression. That's why we put work into it. But one thing I was going to say, though, it's not like we're waiting on somebody to do 40 or 50 pages. We're talking about 10 pages. And I gave everybody plenty of time to do 10 pages and have them done in plenty of time before.
Pops, are you going to do the thing where you ask me for advice and then you don't want to actually take any of it?
I'm trying to explain. It's not like I'm waiting for somebody
I'm telling
to give me tons
and
of
many
pages,
people in the chat are also telling you the same thing as to what I'm saying as to why. But the thing is that, again, you don't have the power, it seems like, to do those changes. So it seems like it's kind of this weird disconnect.
It's going to grow. It's going to grow on people.
Okay.
It will.
It's going to grow.
If you know the people involved in the project, and you know their IPs, like Hex with Nephilim Squadron, you know these IPs already, and you have faith in those people to write a good story.
Oh, absolutely. There's great people working on this. That's why I think people are excited.
That's why I have
even a completed panel. You could do a completed panel from, and not a whole page even. Something that gives them a taste of, like, that's the art, that's what it'll look like, that's what the writing looks like, that's what the lettering looks like, kind of that feel for it.
I get it, and we will be adding as stuff comes in. We will be adding it. Like I said, it's like I wasn't rushing anybody to get 8-10 pages done when they have 2 months before the campaign's over.
No, they don't need to get 8 or 10 pages done, Pops. I'm saying, a panel now. I'm been compromising down to a panel. I know what you're saying. I'm hoping Anthony's listening, because a page would
be ideal, but I asked for this from everybody a long time ago, and everybody has.
That's why I said before.
Life happens,
That's why I said before that it sounds like as if there was some kind of a due date that you guys had come up with, And that even though things might not have been ready at that point in time, you said, well, we're going to launch it anyway.
Yeah, because we have plenty
And
of time. Yeah, I mean, it's not like a 30-day, and it's we still got plenty of time.
no, you don't want. You want to have everything ready, though. You want to have everything ready as much as you can, and then sprinkle extras throughout the campaign, whether they be perks, whether they be something that you want to show of the book, whatever it might be. But you want to have everything foundationally ready. Otherwise, it turns into someone sees it, because the most traction you're ever going to get on a campaign is going to be right in the first 2 days. And if in the first 2 days people visit that page and go, oh, I don't know what's going on here. There doesn't seem to be much of anything. Even if you say in big, humongous letters, more will be added every day. The likelihood of those backers coming back every day to see if more was added is unbelievably slim. Unbelievably slim. So that's why I'm saying that it seems like the team involved, you guys set a due date, you had a deadline. I get it. I understand that. But you got to come across that and go, when you meet that deadline, go, oh man, we still need another week or two or a month. Then you got to communicate, okay, guys, we're pushing it back. We're going to make sure everything is 100% ready to go. We need another month, and we want to make sure this is perfect for you guys. And then when we launch, you can see everything and go into it full steam ahead, back in it, boom, done. But instead, it seemed like, let's just do it anyway, and then we'll get it done during the course of the campaign.
Yeah, that's pretty much. It'll be done during the course of the campaign. 420 is the deadline. 525 is the end of the campaign. So, I feel like we have plenty of time, and I have faith in everybody involved. It's, for me, like I said, I wanted to sneak stuff out. I didn't want it all be out there at once. People go, oh yeah, okay, and never look at it again. I mean, I wanted to be able to drop new stuff all through the campaign to keep generating interest.
I agree. That's a great strategy. But you got to, like I said, you got to have that foundational aspect of it there first.
I will make sure we get.
And again, it's so difficult for me to say. And I hate saying, like you have to, because you're not the one putting it together. It sounds like you're kind of like an observer almost of this.
Pretty much. That's,
I mean, so
I didn't.
It's like I'm talking to the wrong person.
It wasn't even my idea.
See, even this is like I'm talking to the wrong person and giving the feedback to the wrong person. I'm giving feedback to someone who doesn't have necessarily the power to make the changes that need to be made.
Oh, I have the power. I just have, I just get to say, hey, yo, Anthony, go watch this video. See? Because he's at work and I'm out here talking to you. I wanted your opinion of what you were giving me, as far as getting stuff out there for each campaign, or for each story in it. We can put a synopsis for each story. We can get some art.
Allison has her synopsis.
I was trying not to make this thing look horribly huge and convoluted right from the beginning, and maybe switch stuff out as we go along and whatnot, and not just have it be just this long, huge scroll.
No, you can maintain it being concise. Here's the stories. Here's a 1 to 2 sentence synopsis of each one. Creative team. Here's this, how many pages. Creative team. Here's the synopsis. 1 to 2 sentences. Here's the creative team. This how many pages, and kind of just run down the list, and then highlight in a gallery. Here's a panel. Here's a page, or whatever it is with the creative team involved and that kind of imagery. Allison puts her synopsis here. Says the barrier peaks have a new resident, but the locals are unsure. Now Danny and Shadow have to contend with a troll while dodging those hunting them. See, okay, if every single story had something like that too,
that's what I was waiting for. Now I got hers. Okay,
it's fantastic. So and there's a lot of feedback as well inside
I actually
of the chat.
have an open notepad. So, I'm putting all the synopsis in as I get them.
Whoever is responsible for putting it together, this is what I'm saying too. Eric says a lot of people won't look at the campaign again past the first few days. Exactly. And Antoine says if a campaign is launched in an incomplete state, that is a major red flag, because you have to think about it. It's a tip of the iceberg scenario for a backer. They go into it going, okay, if the campaign looks incomplete, how long is it going to take to actually get the book complete? If the campaign looks to be a mess and unorganized, the book result, the product, is going to be, it's subconsciously embedded into the mind of a backer. The end result's going to be a mess and disorganized. So you don't want to have that presentation looking that way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So it's that kind of a thing.
I totally get it. I totally get it. I'm adding Allison's synopsis to my notepad right now.
All right, fantastic.
You know, I mean, that was something I was trying to get before this show, Pete. You can ask Allison. I've been trying to get a synopsis from everybody. I'm trying to think of the things, you know, that need to be done on the campaign. But again, if everybody doesn't send me a piece of art, I can't put a piece of art on the campaign.
Well, then that's why the campaign doesn't get launched until you have that. You see what I'm saying? Like when I put up the alternate campaigns, I'm not launching the alternate campaigns until all the books are done. There's not one book on the alternate campaigns that is not done. Right. When I put up the King Cryptid campaign, I'm going to have 2 to 3 pages complete, 100% complete. They're going to be published. You can see the writing, you can see the lettering, the artwork, completed page. As we're working on the campaign, we're going to be completing the rest of the books. So but we also push then the deadline a year out. So February 2023 would be when I'm saying everyone's going to get their stuff. Honestly, they're probably going to get their stuff before the end of this year. So it's all these different kinds of things of making sure that the person backing it is well informed enough to make a proper decision of if they were to go to the comic shop. This is a virtual comic shop. This is your virtual pop-up store. So if they go to that store, they can go through that, see a couple of preview pages, read a synopsis, see the creative team, and then make an informed decision. So it's that kind of a thing. You want to have them make as an informed decision as possible, as opposed to going into a kind of blind and just being like, look, you know me, trust me, I'm going to do a good job. Unfortunately, you know, maybe you will, but there's been many people like that in the past who've said the same kind of things and then didn't. And it's not anything on you. It's just it's the psychology.
I could have put it off, but I'm one of them people that believes in 6 months from now you can have 6 months of excuses or six months of progress. I'm one of them 6 months of progress guys. 6 months from now, this book will be in everybody's hand. You know, I'm not thinking about how I have to put it off and put it off and put it off. There's plenty of time for these stories to all get done and all this stuff to be on the campaign for people to see. But if I was going to put off the launch date and then put off everything because one person didn't have their stuff in, or if I use excuses as to why this doesn't happen, 6 months from now, I'll still be giving you excuses.
Well, see, I'd rather have that happen. I'd rather have that happen than all of a sudden it turns into, let's say it takes 6 months to get a story from an artist.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. I have a deadline. If their story ain't in on 420, their story probably won't be in the book, bro. You know?
Pops, I got somebody waiting in the green room. Thank you very much for sharing with us. All the best of luck with the campaign. Seriously, Enter the Cromniverse is on Indiegogo. You're at 19,000. I bet that would be nice. 1,957 on the campaign. 17 days left, and again, all the best of luck to you with the campaign.
Thank you, sir. You have a good day.
Absolutely. You too. All right. Up next, we've got Aerith Saga. What's up, Aerith Saga?
What up, St. Peter? That's what I'm going to call you after that.
I wish the best for everybody. I want everybody to succeed. I want everybody to succeed in mountains and boatloads.
No, everyone knows
and
that.
That's one of the ways to do it.
We were just talking in the back room, and people are like, Pete's been doing this for a very long time. You obviously know what you're doing. Just shut up and listen to him. You know, you're not coming out from an angle of talking trash. You literally want people to do better. So that's why I'm here. We can check out what I'm working on next, and
yeah, absolutely.
See what you think, man.
Let's see what's up with that.
Let me throw you in the private chat. So our next campaign is completely off Indiegogo, Kickstarter. It's all being hosted through my Shopify store. It's going to run exactly like an Indiegogo. It's just, I come from an e-com background. I've been doing e-com marketing for a very long time. I like having full control of everything. I like being able to give people payment options. I like people to be able to give people actual marketing options that you can't do with Indiegogo. We're even working on an affiliate system right now for all the people that host us during the campaign. So they actually get a kickback when people back the campaign during the show.
All right, very nice. Let's see here. So, where is There it is. Okay. All right. So this is your own site.
Yep.
We put the link in the chat too for anybody who may want that. Here we are. All right. So let's see here. Tape 3 sign up page. If you're already a Aerith.com subscriber, you're automatically signed up for Tape 3 alerts and sign up perks.
Yeah, so like on Indiegogo, you know how you have to sign up every single time
okay.
when someone launches? Once you're in our system, you're in our system.
Very
and what
nice.
we're doing now is moving from the shift from email to SMS. Through our stores, we've seen that SMS has an 80 to 86% conversion rate as far as open and people clicking compared to, like a 20% on email. So SMS,
very nice. Interesting.
When you're on SMS, you're going to get certain perks. You'll get certain secret tiers. So you want to get on the SMS list. We have a countdown for when we're going to launch. We have a daily updated stat. We know that we need to at least have the book 50% done before we launch, so we can show interiors, we can show lettering. People can read the story, get interested before they actually back it. This is the third issue of the Aerith series, and we're going a little crazy on this one. We're doing a lenticular cover. We're doing a gold-plated box because our boxes, everyone knows our tape boxes. Tape 1 was the purple tape.
Goodness.
Tape 2 was the black tape, and now we're doing a gold foil imprint tape as well. When you're signing up, if you haven't got those tapes, you can buy them here on the website so you can catch up before the campaign launches. With this campaign, this tape, what we're doing is you kind of learned about the two main characters and kind of seeing their journey as far as who they're fighting, who the bad guys are. And now on this campaign, we're taking you to that next kind of layer of the story where who is actually Aerith? Where does she come from? How did she get there? What is the actual beginning of the plot of the story? And we go into like dream sequences. We do have this thing called dimension drifting where we bring these different characters that have been following Aerith. She can't see them because they're on different dimensional planes. She learns how to dream to jump on those planes to be able to interact with those people, get items so she can go back to the other world and fight, the bad guys. So we're doing a lot of crazy. This is more like my artsy issue. It's kind of testing it out. Like, hey, will this work? Let's see if this crashes and burns. Or
have you been happy with the results so far? How's it going?
So far we've gotten 128 SMS signups. We have almost 800 on our email signups. So we're going, man. I mean, I'm still a small creator. I try to get it into as many chats as possible and shows, but I think as far as being my third issue and coming off of Doors versus Line, which I feel was a super awesome success, I feel that I can move to my own platform now and rely on the customer base that we've developed and kind of showing people that Indiegogo is great to start your brand, but you can go off and still be just as successful.
Oh yeah, you can and should. That's and I mean, it takes time too, but
yeah,
everyone should hopefully be able to reach that point where they, you go, okay, I'm going to keep on doing this. I don't expect everybody to all of a sudden have a full-fledged, up and running business, a website, or this or that or whatever, just as soon as the first campaign ever launches. Because some people are like, I don't know, by the time I make this book, I probably never want to make one again. That's going to be about looking at it from over the years. I'd say there's about maybe 60% of people who launch crowdfunding campaigns or even make a comic book will never make another comic book again. That's just kind of how it is. They go into it and they're like, I just want to do the one thing and I'm out. Then there's like 20% of people who are going to make a couple more. It's not going to be a career. It's not going to be anything like that, but they'll make a couple more throughout their life. And that's going to be about it. Then there's about 10%. So we're at 60, 20, and 10. So I need 10 more percent. So there's about 10% that are going to do this, pretty regularly, pretty consistently. It's pretty much like their other job to their day job.
Right.
And then there's that final 10% that this is it. They're literally just a comic creator. They're doing it all the time. So I don't expect a whole bunch of people to just right off the bat, the first thing they ever do, they're launching everything full scale. That's madness. Don't do that. That growing, if anything, the biggest thing that'll kill your business right away is growing too big, too fast.
Yep.
So it's great to see that, though, that you're in it, you're doing your thing. You're like, hey, we experienced success doing it like this. I want to keep doing this. I think this is great. We can keep doing this with the support we're having, as long as we keep on producing a quality product and the readers are there. And then you keep growing outside of that. I think that's a good logical next step for anyone in your position. So if anyone's sitting there thinking, it's just the one thing, we just have crowdfunding, I'm never making a website, I'm never selling them elsewhere, I'm never doing this, I'm only printing as many for the crowdfunder, and then we do another crowdfunder. Once you start doing a couple of these, hopefully you've gotten that mindset of, okay, I need a headquarters, I need everything to funnel back to the headquarters. So it's good to see that you're doing something like that, because there's a lot of people that aren't necessarily thinking in that kind of frame of mind. They think, just the crowdfunder, and then, that's all it really is. And then, because even with us, we did stuff. I've tried many different things. Distribution, traditionally through comic shops, newsstand distribution, selling on Etsy, selling on eBay, selling on our own site, having pre-orders on Indiegogo. We had pre-orders on our own site. We had a subscription pod. So all these different things, and every single time certain things have pros and cons to them. And then maybe one day the Indiegogo stuff just doesn't work at all. Maybe crowdfunding just doesn't, it's not a thing anymore. Maybe it just doesn't work. It's not viable. You always need a headquarters, though, if you want to continue to plan on doing this. So yeah, kudos to you.
Yeah, and that's, I went in this thing, and I will say I kind of do have an advantage than a lot of people. I do come from a business background. I've been in marketing for a long time. I've done a lot of startup companies that went from, bootstrap to selling off for a couple $100 million. So I went into this thing going with a business, mindset, going, hey, I'm not going to just do one. I want to build up my inventory. Once we got a few pieces in, once we built up enough market to where we know it's going to fund each product, as long as we're making a new product, our goal is to do 4 or 5, comics every month. We've been close to hitting that already, and this is our first year in. We're already working on Dwarfs versus Junkmen with some of the guys from 656. We got a couple of other projects in the works. So yeah, we're doing when we did our Dwarfs versus Lions last campaign, when we launched on Bancroft, our dwarfs sold so fast that now we're going to do a 40 dwarf. It's going to be called Cinco de Dorfo, where we sell 40 dwarfs on our website at different tiers: cover tier, interior tier, speaking tier, and kind of see how that goes. And if that's successful, we have the money to fund that next book before we even start campaign. So it's kind of cool to be able to test these different ideas with no constraints, through your own website. One of the big things is people are tripping out that we could offer a $400 tier, and they can do a 6-month no interest payment system through our website too. So now people are able to get those higher tiers without that financial strain. So, and you can back with crypto on our website as well. So we're just kind of testing out all these cool things, man, just to see what works. And I'd rather crash and burn while I'm able to pivot at a smaller size than build a big company and go, oh man, this is not going to work. We're going to sell, we're going to lose a couple $100,000 on this dumb.
Well, that's honestly, that's how you figure out what works for you. So, maybe there's aspects of this that really work out well. Maybe there's aspects of it that don't work out that great at all. I guarantee there's going to be both, but that's how you figure out what works. So again, kudos to you. I love seeing stuff like this. Nefarious, thank you so much for the super chat. Says St. Peter the Goat, Pizza Medi, bringing knowledge and wisdom to the masses. Thanks for everything you do to help us improve, brother. No problem at all. And that's what the feedback forum is for, because I see a lot of people that are being very nice, but being very nice did not help me to grow.
Right.
When I was starting out. You have to practically beg people, because the thing is, even if you go to conventions, right, they don't want to be mean to you or say anything too critical, because they want you still as a customer,
right?
And literally, like, anything mean could be, I've said things, oh my lord, so nice to some people over the years, and have been met with death threat responses back. So over the course of time, I just kind of stopped giving feedback unless someone was on the precipice of being just there. When it was someone who I'm looking at and I'm like, goodness gracious, like, this person has never drawn a thing in their life and they're submitting a comic. Right. Where do I begin? And trying to just, tell them, hey, look, you got to start small and then take your time. Don't rush to send in a submission to a company. You're not ready there. The worst thing that'll actually happen to you is that I accept your submission. And now what the hell are you going to do? You've never made a comic before. You've never had to do things under a deadline. You've never had to work with a publisher. You never had to have the expectations of readers. You just drew something for the first time and sent it in. So that's going to be the worst thing that can happen to you, is if I'm just, yeah, whatever, I'll publish anything. Sure. You sent something
Right.
in, you're published. So
No,
and that's horrible.
I
So
remember someone told me, I think it was like 10 or 12 years ago when we were working on a startup, and they said, nice people want you to fail. And I didn't know what that meant until you start getting feedback from your friends and family. Oh, it's the greatest idea, when it really isn't. And it really resonated with me. Usually when people are nice, they're really not giving you anything. Before we did Doors versus Lion, we took a lot from what Eric the Guapo had suggested. And even with this issue, him, Mo, the chat, really just kind of gauging the readers, our backers. Hey, what are we doing wrong? What can we change? What tiers do you want? How can we offer these tiers? How can we offer these perks? And you know what? If my feelings get hurt and I'm in the wrong business, because I'm here to serve, I want people to buy my product. And if I'm going to tell the people buying my product to piss off, then no one's going to buy my product. So we've made a lot of changes. We welcome feedback, even if it's feedback that hurts. You got to suck it up, pivot, change it, and make some money, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, is putting some dollar bills in your bank account.
Yeah, and if you don't, the lessons are going to hit hard anyway. And they can either hit hard as failure, which is, we're all going to experience failure. I've experienced failure far more than I've experienced success. I think every person can say that. But how do you respond to that? Did you learn from that? Did you try not to make the same mistake twice? Because I'll see people making the same mistake over and over and over again. And no matter how many times failure slaps them in the face and it's like, no, wrong way. No matter how many times, they'll keep doing it. No matter how many times someone then also comes along to say, hey, look, I want you to succeed, but look at what this and this and this, look what's happening. And this is why you're meeting so much, you're having so many obstacles before you that you can't overcome. Instead of like really trying to get that locked door to open up, you're ignoring the 100 other open doors to the sides of you because you're so dead set. No, this one's it's just one more turn.
Emotionally invested.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Right.
So there's all these different things you have to learn from it and kind of move around it and adapt. But so this, honestly, I don't have much feedback or anything like that for you. If anything, I have a lot of hope, and I hope it works out for you.
Cool, man. Yeah, I was just seeing what you thought about, going off on your own and testing it out. And
no, I think that's fantastic. I think that's
cool.
the way to do it. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, no, I think every single person that's in your scenario, this is the way to do it. You have to start branching out on your own. Get a website set up, have a headquarters always. I've said this before. Everything should funnel back to your headquarters.
Right.
If it's, willy-nilly all over the place and you're dependent upon this and dependent upon, that's why we ended up leaving every distributor we've worked with. We worked with a variety of digital and physical distributors. And every single one of them, it's going to be the 2-year anniversary of us leaving Diamond on April 15th.
Damn.
So, and it's been better ever since. And it's not to say that I didn't learn anything from working with Diamond. It's not to say that we didn't grow somewhat as a result of working with these various distributors. But it was knowing that, okay, we've reached a certain point where now they're becoming more detrimental to our growth than actually helping us. So right. It looks like you're doing the same thing. You're doing the same kind of process of not that like this one thing is detrimental to you, but that you should start building up, because otherwise you're going to put yourself in a really rough position one day where all of a sudden you didn't do any of it's Three Little Pigs. You've built all your houses of straw and stick and you stop thinking I should start building some bricks because they're going to take time, and stop doing your brick house. And you kept on building 100 little stick and straw houses. And then one day the storm comes, the wolf comes, whatever it may be, and they're all gone. But if you had spent those years and years and years, brick by brick, you'd be okay.
Right.
So I want to see a lot of creators in that position too.
And that's what we're doing right now. Each issue is a brick, and that's what we're slowly doing. But hopefully in a couple of years we'll be a big brand. That's the end goal.
It's good. Yeah, I hope so too. All
awesome,
right, man. Well, thank you very much. And seriously, in the future, feel free to check back in and report your findings if you wish to share them.
Yeah,
and,
man.
I'm sure I'd be interested, but I'm sure other people would be interested too.
Cool, dude. Yeah, I'll pop back on after we launch this thing and see the actual campaign page live and with all the perks and stuff and see how it works.
Absolutely.
Cool, man.
All
well,
right,
thanks for your time, Pete.
No problem. Take it easy. Have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, we're coming up on the 1 hour mark. That's it for the show. It's a 1 hour show. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I hope that I hope there was something, if you're out there, whether you're a backer or a creator or whatever it may be, I hope there was something to be learned. Let's see. C. Katani says, my feedback was missed. Where was your feedback? Where was it? I don't see your feedback. I don't know. I don't see your feedback. Can you repeat it? I want to make sure that it was repeated and that we got to it. But yeah, so hopefully if you're a project creator, whatever it may be, whether it's a crowdfunder or a book or whatever, hopefully you've learned some lessons. There's always something to be learned from someone's successes or someone's failures, and then especially from your own successes and your own failures. Always try to learn from a failure. I love Bruce Lee, but Bruce Lee, the quote, to paraphrase, defeat is a state of mind. You're never defeated until you've allowed yourself to be. So it's okay to have failures. It's okay to have setbacks. It's okay to have delays. It's okay to have things that, you have to tell people, look, I thought we could have done it. We can't do it. We need more time. We need more resources. We need whatever it is, and be straight up honest with them, as opposed to it turning into like this big, no, we can do it. We can do it. And I don't just mean this to Pops. I hope they succeed. I mean it to every single, I've seen a lot of campaigns and a lot of books over the years. Before crowdfunding had such a big boom to it. It's a lot of books over the years. A lot of books have come and gone. A lot of creators have come and gone. A lot of publishers have come and gone. That same mindset. I've seen a lot of publishers that they'll launch a massive universe. We're going to make a big universe, 10, 12 books all at once, and they're done within a year. Done within a year. Because you need one book, and you need to do it slowly. You need to do brick by brick. Each issue is that brick. You can't do every little straw and stick house of books and think, okay, all you've done is build a house of cards out of books. So I want to see people succeed. I want to see staying power among people doing this stuff. And I want to, above all else, I want to see readers stop getting their what grabbed and twisted. I want to start seeing readers get some value, and I don't mean monetarily. I want to see readers start getting some value out of these books that they're putting into their lives, that they're reading, that they're supporting, that they're enjoying, that they're enriching their lives. That's what got me into wanting to make comics and become a storyteller and make a company to begin with, was because of the comics that impacted my life, the stories that impacted my life when I was growing up. And I wanted to go, if I could do just a little bit of that, maybe for somebody else, then it's worth it. But that's always the goal. That's always the goal, and the hope is that you make something that impacts someone in a positive way. So I want to see a little bit of that. I want to see more of that kind of value, putting it out there. Exactly, Eric. Exactly. But hopefully we can see that. And everyone's in a growing phase. I completely understand that too. But that's also why I want to see people start being more patient too with themselves. That's the number one thing when I see stuff as a publisher. I look at submissions and I'm like, why are you rushing? Why are you rushing to submit this to me? You're clearly just drawing this for the first time, or, and sometimes they'll write that. I've said that a bunch of times. They'll even write it in the submission. This is the first time I've ever drawn anything. It's the first time you've ever drawn anything. Why are you submitting your comic then to me? You have so much to learn. That's the equivalent of you've put a Band-Aid on an injury and say to somebody, I'm a doctor now. That's the equivalent of you threw a baseball once. I'm a pro ball player now. You have a lot to do. You have a lot to learn. Don't rush yourself. Take your time with the learning. Learn as much as you possibly can. Hone in on the stuff you want to do. Learn your craft. If you're serious about it, learn your craft. This isn't something like anything else and you're just like, oh, well, hey, so-and-so could do it. I could do it too. Good attitude. But then put that attitude to work. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great night. really appreciate you watching tonight. It's always a fun show. And again, I hope the feedback helps people to succeed. And I hope you guys, as backers, readers, project creators, I hope you guys have a wonderful time with comic books and keep on finding great books to love and enjoy and support. Thank you guys, and have a wonderful night.